All right, peace to the family. Our mic sounds nice. How's our mic? Mic. Okay, yep. Mic is live. All right, so just so you know, right? We have edited the videos up a little better. I got your responses from Patreon. So we on Patreon. We lit on Patreon. We there, right? So now we got our two-way, we got our consultations going, we got our free consultations going. Let me say that. We got our free consultations going. Unlimited access, right? For the Patreon subscribers, right? Finally. Thank you to everybody who's been patient. But we also have updated the videos. So somebody said these videos is cool because we got the audio, but but you need to update this with some visuals and make it more interactive, right? So we have that. We will be playing them. But I also wanted to show you that you can get to it from the home page on the YouTube as well, right? So you don't have to, it's not hard to find. You go right to the Dr. EnQi page. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. But you go right to the page and then bam. I got family first, and then I got prayer. Right, so you can get right to it. Now, did we share this the right way so that it has sound? Okay, yeah, that's the right way. That's the right way, right there. Okay. And yes, that is Jabari right there getting exposed.
EnQi prayer number 2. We give thanks and praise to the Most High God for the divine spark that set our cells into perpetual motion. We give thanks for the magnetism of the Most Holy, the magnetism that repels and attracts the ferry boats of light 60,000 miles every 60 seconds throughout our vessels and caves. We give thanks for the ability to drink clean water every 60 minutes, flooding the river of life. We give thanks that sugar has not covered our ferries and turned them into stone. We give thanks that darkness has not covered the riverbanks with calcium and turned them into stone. We give thanks that anger and fear have not turned our almonds bitter, turning our heart to stone. We give thanks for smooth sailing upstream through the valley of death, through the superior vena cava into the right atrium. We give thanks for smooth sailing around the heart through the corona crown, joining the vortex in the right atrium. We give thanks for the perfect black solar repeater that induces the primary electromagnetic wave, opening the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim closes. We give thanks to the ray wave, reflecting on the semi-lunar valves, opening a pathway to the vineyard. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the lunar gate to the vineyard closes. We give thanks to the Most High God that provides the light and our breath, and the light in our breath. We give thanks for the fine olfactory system that makes our grapes ripe with light. We give thanks for the Jed pillar that provides us with a stable fleet of ferry boats to dock in our vineyard. We give thanks for smooth sailing through the pulmonary vein into the storm of the left atrium. We give thanks for the perfect black solar repeater that induces the primary electromagnetic wave, opening the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim closes. We give thanks to the ray wave, reflecting on the semi-lunar valve, opening a pathway into the holy royal arch of the Wa scepter. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the lunar gate into the holy royal arch of the Wa scepter closes. We give thanks for the magnetism of the most holy, the magnetism that repels and attracts the ferry boats of light 60,000 miles every 60 seconds throughout our vessels and our caves. Amen.
So that was that, right? And then we did another one. So that people have an idea of how to rock the exercises. Now, typically, what I initially had envisioned, right? What I initially envisioned was you doing the exercises first by themselves, and then once your blood is flowing and all your nerves is firing, then you go back, or then you start your prayer rather, right? But things kind of evolved the way they evolved.
EnQi prayer number 2. We give thanks and praise to the Most High God for the divine spark that set our cells into perpetual motion. We give thanks for the magnetism of the Most Holy, the magnetism that repels and attracts the ferry boats of light 60,000 miles every 60 seconds throughout our vessels and caves. We give thanks for the ability to drink clean water every 60 minutes, flooding the river of life. We give thanks that sugar has not covered our ferries and turned them into stone. We give thanks that darkness has not covered the riverbanks with calcium and turned them into stone. We give thanks that anger and fear have not turned our almonds bitter, turning our heart to stone. We give thanks for smooth sailing upstream through the valley of death, through the superior vena cava into the right atrium. We give thanks for smooth sailing around the heart through the corona crown, joining the vortex in the right atrium. We give thanks for the perfect black solar repeater that induces the primary electromagnetic wave, opening the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim closes. We give thanks to the ray wave reflecting on the semi-lunar valves, opening a pathway to the vineyard. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the lunar gate to the vineyard closes. We give thanks to the Most High God that provides the light and our breath, and the light in our breath. We give thanks for the fine olfactory system that makes our grapes ripe with light. We give thanks for the Jed pillar that provides us with a stable fleet of ferry boats to dock in our vineyard. We give thanks for smooth sailing through the pulmonary vein into the storm of the left atrium. We give thanks for the perfect black solar repeater that induces the primary electromagnetic wave, opening the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim closes. We give thanks to the ray wave, reflecting on the semi-lunar valves, opening a pathway into the holy royal arch of the Wa scepter. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the lunar gate into the holy royal arch of the Wa scepter closes. We give thanks for the magnetism of the most holy, the magnetism that repels and attracts the ferry boats of light 60,000 miles every 60 seconds throughout our vessels and our caves. Amen.
All right. Shout out to my guy Kyle. We in the building, man. Ooh.
The gods have blessed us. We must act now. We must act now to save us, to save our souls.
I definitely appreciate God for the folks like Kyle. Kyle is not messing around. Kyle is not messing around. I do be hating though. Let me not lie. I do be hating. I be hating on everybody that has more of my books than me. If you got more of my books than I got, I'm hating. I don't have none of the, well, I can't say none. I have They Not Like Us, and I have I'm so in love with this book that I don't know where it is right now, but I have Speak It Into Existence. Yeah, I have the Speak It Into Existence book. So, but I don't have like the last 10. Like the last 10, I'm waiting. And then because I'm the author, Amazon is kicking us to the back of the line in terms of shipping. They in the middle of doing they holiday shipping. You know, December shipping is crazy. So eternally grateful to the OG. Eternally grateful to the OG. You see, I've been working. You see, I've been working. But I'm definitely eternally grateful to the OG. So I guess nobody knows that we're live. It's cool. They'll catch this on the replay. But I wanted to dig deeper into our heart conversation, because I think in my excitement, I know in my excitement that I kind of be living in my own head, and so I'm trying to work on me. If y'all noticed, I've been trying to do this for like the last 5 years or so. So this is a huge accomplishment for me, even though in your mind, this might not be a big thing. But if y'all notice, the last couple of videos, I haven't said one cuss word. I think I did say one. I said, if you're not reading, somebody need to bust your class. Bust your class, right? I did say one, but that's one in like 20 hours of video. One cuss word for me is like, yeah, that's a huge accomplishment. That's a huge accomplishment. Even my children said, "Dad, you did it." Oh my God. Don't judge me though. Listen, you just can't imagine the households I grew up in. That those were the first words. Those were the first words I learned. So, yeah, crazy. But I wanted to stay in the pocket that we're in, but I just wanted to bring it back before we bring it forward, right? I think though we doing pretty good. I think the prayer and the visuals. I think the prayer and the visuals have people been hitting me up excited this morning. Like I got a few text messages this morning. Not text messages, the Patreon. You know what I'm saying? I got a few people, like, yo, this joint is crazy. I feel like I already, like, this was the whole science behind the weighing of the heart ceremony, right? It's just understanding how the brain works, right? Understanding how the brain works. When you visualize something, when you see something, your neurons fire, right? When you visualize something, when you see something, your neurons fire. Now, 2,000 years ago, obviously they didn't have TV sets. 3,000, 4,000, they didn't have TV sets. They didn't have YouTube, right? So the scientists, the doctors, right? The sunu, right? The priests, they had to work together and put this thing together for the people, right? So you had to envision, and they gave you a colorful story. So your initiatory experience, right? You never forget your initiate. If you've ever been initiated into anything, you never forget it, right? You never forget that. Whether you got initiated into a spiritual order, a gang, masonry, a sorority, a fraternity, like you never forget your initiatory experience. So the initiatory experience was scientific. It was mystical, it was magical, but it was scientific, right? So you went through the 12 gates of the underworld, right? And blah, blah, blah. So we kind of tried to recreate that vibe, right? We tried to recreate that vibe in a modern EnQi YouTube type of sense, right? And so, yeah, I'm just hoping people memorize it, right? It's easy to watch anyway, at least, right? And we know from music, if we watch it and we hear it enough, we should be able to memorize it, right? The valley of the shadow of death, right? No oxygen coming back up from the feet, right? No oxygen coming back up from the feet. Inferior vena cava, superior, right? So we're going to buckle down. We're going to go back to the beginning though, because I want people to be charged up and excited, but I want you to have something to say. When you start talking that talk, I want you to be able to efficiently communicate that we have the cause and the cure for, or at the bare minimum, we have the trigger, right? We have the trigger. And once we have the trigger is what was the big deal. The mystical, magical thing that no one could figure out, so nobody could stop it from happening because you don't know how it's happening. Get it? Right? I'm trying to make sure that I break this thing down and communicate it in a way where you guys can memorize it, internalize it, and then communicate it out to your people, especially in the dead of winter when people are grabbing their chest right now, right? So that was the big key to heart attacks, right? That was the big key that was missing. Nobody knew the trigger. And so since the trigger was unknown, that's what makes it so scary. That's why it's the number one killer, because you don't know how it's being triggered. And if you don't know how it's being triggered, because you don't know what the trigger is, there's no way to stop it, right? So we're going to go back over that information because I want that information to also be ingrained in your brain. And if we get that part down pat with our prayer, we're doing once a day, 3 times a day, 5 times a day. I think we're unstoppable. I think we're ready for the big time, right? I think we're ready for the big time. I think we're ready to go to the globe and say, listen, we got it, right? We got it. We got it. And not only do we have it, but technically, if you have one of these, you got it, right? If you got one of these, which everybody should have one of these, because in 2024, these are everywhere. If you go to a $20 hotel somewhere for an hour, you know what you're doing in there. They got these in the drawer. They got these in the drawer right there. They got you got a phone. If you got a smartphone,
because I'm reading about melatonin and biochemistry.
What is, Myron, that's not even first of all, it's not melatonin and whatever it is that you just said. It's melanin and biochemistry. You can't even pronounce the word, so how you reading? How you reading, Myron?
I'm not looking at the pictures. I got the books right here. I'm looking at the pictures. You know, this ain't nothing nasty about this. So what are you talking about? I got all the books right here. What are you talking about?
Myron, you don't even know how to read. Every time we get mail, you bring it to me. You think I don't know that?
I got hooked on Phoenix. Now, what you talking about? I was hooked on Phoenix, so I know how to read.
As a when? Because first of all, hooked on phonics, I believe it's for kids. There's no such thing as hooked on Phoenix. And if I recall, you're the same person that thought reindeer was pronounced reender, and you're the same person that thought pigeon was pronounced piggy-on. So it makes sense that you went to hooked on Phoenix.
That's such a dumbass.
No,
you always trying to say.
okay, all right. Almost died right there. Swallow, well, not swallow, but I think a piece of CMOS was trying to go down the wrong. Anyway. Yeah, anyway. Right. So we're going to go back to this book right here, where it all started, right? And we're going to notice these books are all shapes and sizes. We got all, like, the library is crazy. We got all, like, these, yeah, we got all sizes and shapes and cuts. But yeah, we're gonna tap into this real quick, and we're gonna go into this book. Actually, yeah, we're gonna go into this. We're gonna do this second. We're gonna go into this book second. There's too much in this book. Yeah, there's too much in this book. I tried to be funny in this book too. I tried to be funny and put the anatomy, like every chapter as a chapter in, to force you to read it. Because people said they've been skipping it. So I tried to, I don't know what I was thinking. But I tried to put it repetitive so I'd force you to read it. Maybe I need to do a little video with the anatomy. Right? That might be a vibe. That way I can force you to learn that as well. Okay. We might need the purple book. I think we're definitely going to tap into this book if we have time. If we have time. Because I'm serious about these prayers. And you should be too. In fact, let's do that. Let's do that real quick. Let's do that real quick. Let me put that up here. I put that on the title of the prayer videos. I put that on the title of the prayer videos. Don't I know it? Don't I know it? I gotta go get the okay. All right. So just so you have these in your mind, right? Just so you have these in your mind. right? Right, just so that those could be in your mind. Right now, I don't have anything like I use my cell phone. So if you have an iPhone, you can set it in your phone to remind you. Right? You can set it in your phone to remind you. Even if you don't have the book yet, it's coming in the mail or whatever. You got it on the YouTube, right? And I put both, the prayer by itself and the prayer with the exercises. So you could do your little, you got a reminder, toe raises, calf raises, even though I think I messed up in the book. But y'all should be used to my typos by now. I put toe raises, heel raises, calf raises. So no, I already know I'm getting ready to get 1,000 people to ask me, what's the difference between heel raises and calf raises? There's no difference. Heel raises are calf raises. Yeah, my bad. But not really, sorry, not sorry kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if I get you to do an extra set, yeah. If I get you to do an extra 30 seconds of exercise, yeah. Apologies. Right? If I get you to do an extra 30 seconds of exercise, right? Okay, so let's go to the good stuff. Let's go to the good stuff. All right, let me pull this up on the screen. Hold on, I need to go get my hard drive.
Myron!
Oh,
Myron!
what?
What are you doing? What you doing?
What you talking about? What am I doing?
You reading them nasty books again, right, Myron?
Everybody read no nasty books, man. You scared the hell out of me. What you talking about, man? Wait, I ain't did that in about 2 weeks.
You called yesterday too. What you reading? What you reading?
You scared the goddamn book, man. Dr. EnQi. I went on Amazon and got 3 Dr. EnQi books because I'm reading about melatonin and biochemistry.
What is, Myron, that's not even first of all, it's not melatonin and whatever it is that you just said. It's melanin and biochemistry. You can't even pronounce the word, so how you reading? How you reading, Myron?
I'm not looking at the pictures. I got the books right here. I'm looking at the pictures. This ain't nothing nasty about this. So what are you talking about? I got all the books right here. What are you talking about?
Myron, you don't even know how to read. Every time we get mail, you bring it to me. You think I don't know that?
I got hooked on Phoenix. Now, what you talking about? I was hooked on Phoenix, so I know how to read.
As of when? Because first of all, hooked on phonics, I believe it's for kids. There's no such thing as hooked on Phoenix. And if I recall, you're the same person that thought reindeer was pronounced reender, and you're the same person that thought pigeon was pronounced piggy on. So it makes sense that you went to hooked on Phoenix.
Man, that's such a dumbass.
No,
You always trying to say somebody can't read. I know exactly what I'm talking about, man. I'm reading the book. I got the book. I got the goddamn receipt right here. I got the goddamn receipt right here for the books. What you talking about?
Well, you need to return them for somebody who know how to read them. And I still don't. It's probably all type of stuff in the inside of the books, Myron. That's how sneaky you are. Give me the books. Give me the books, Myron.
Hell no.
Give me the books, Myron.
Amazon.
Give me the books, Myron.
I'm not giving you none. I got these books on Amazon. I'm not giving you the books. Ain't that no.
Yo, well, bye. Bye.
I've been in this game. Yeah. You're animals to the shit.
The gods have blessed us. We must act now. We must act now to save us, to save our souls.
All right. NOP. No blood clot this. Oh, I know what this is. No. No blood clot this, bro. Oh, here we go. Jesus Christ. All right. Man, okay. This is what I was looking for. So let's start right here with this and work our way backwards, right? Let's just get right to the main thing and make the main thing the main thing. This is the main thing. This is the main thing right here. So as we're understanding We're learning, we're studying, we're committing to memory, we're thanking God for the ancestors. We're taking our detox, we on our bitters, we're choking to death with the CMOS. Right? As we're doing all of the things that we're supposed to be doing, right? We need to have this down pack, right? It's the amygdala that triggers heart attacks. It's the amygdala that triggers heart attacks. It's the amygdala that triggers heart attacks. It's the aorta that carries the chemicals of death to the heart. Right? I want this to stick in your mind. So when people say, what are y'all doing over there? Y'all supporting and building, and what is it that y'all are supporting and building? Like, what do y'all have? I want you to be able to knock their head off, like lay this right on out. 5-10 minutes in easy, clear to understand language. Actually, I probably should have did this a little bit different. We'll leave that for another conversation, right? Because it's a little bit more complicated than just the spine, right? So we'll keep it at 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And you out of here. 1, 2, 3. And you out of here. Right? If they need to see it, we have it. If you have the book, it's in the book. If they need to see it, we have it. Right? If they need to see it, we have it. If you have the book, you have it in your hands. Right? You have more detail in your hands. You have more detail in your hand, but you have this right here. This. Okay? Now, this right here is the amygdala, normal as well as triggered. This right here is the aorta, normal and triggered. This right here is the production. Now you go in your book. You go in the book, you'll be able to see that clearly on page. So now some of y'all are trying to go into the book right now. And I want to give you the page. Okay, you have one good clear shot. It's on page 152. Yeah, page 152. Yeah. So you got the amygdala, the aorta, and the bone marrow. Yeah. The amygdala, the aorta, and the bone marrow. Amygdala, aorta, bone marrow. Right? The amygdala is where the signal comes from. The bone marrow is what is going to actually produce the clotting factors. And the aorta is what's going to deliver it to the heart. Amygdala, aorta, bone marrow. All right, now hold on. All right, now I want you to jump over and pull out your Bible. If you do not have a Bible, please take out a pen and a paper so that you can take good notes. If you do not have a Bible, please take out a pen and paper so you can take notes. I want you to be able to write this stuff down. And walk right on through it. So that's what we're doing right now. We're walking through how you can break this down in a variety of ways. All right, so first things first, let's just look at this article. Let's look at this article real quick. Behavioral adaptations to environmental threats are crucial for survival and necessitate rapid deployment of energy reserves. The amygdala coordinates behavior adaptations to threats, but little is known about its involvement in underpinning metabolic adaptations. Okay, so this is explaining where the mechanism came from, how this came to be, how this whole process came to be. Let's just simplify it that way, right? The amygdala coordinates behavioral adaptations to threats, but little is known about its involvement in underpinning metabolic adaptations. Here we show that acute stress activates medial amygdala neurons that innervate the ventromedial hypothalamus, which precipitates hyperglycemia and hypophagia. The glycemic actions of MEAVMH neurons occur independent of adrenal or pancreatic glucoregulatory hormones. Okay, we're about to get lost in a bunch of big words, which I don't want to do. Right? All right. Long story short, is just explaining to you how it came to be that this reaction from the amygdala exists that can kill you. Right? How this came to be. All right, I want you guys to be able to pinpoint this stuff very quickly and easily so you don't look as clumsy as I do right now. All right. Okay. Cosmic this and that. Okay, the letter G. Yeah, we got a lot of information in this book that not necessarily. Okay, here we go. Yeah, there's a lot of information in this book. That's not exactly just. So this is the next book. This is the prayer manual. This is the electrician's prayer manual #1. All right. The electrician's prayer manual tells the biblical story. When you get this book tells the scientific story. Right? This book tells the scientific story. When you get the next book, it tells the biblical story. It also tells, it's a lot of science in the book as well. But if you're speaking to somebody, you need the complete story, right? You need the complete story. But if you're speaking to somebody that may be a lot of people do this. Let me say this. A lot of people go to their doctor, right? And they say, Dr. EnQi said. They say, Dr. EnQi said, blah, 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 blah. And honestly, most times the reception is good. Most times the reception is good. Most times the reception is good, right? Because they have something there, right? But I want to keep y'all in that pocket, right? So if you're going to your doctor, or if you're going to, for people that are in college, my college students, if you're going to your professor, right? You want to be able to speak specifically. You want to be able to go like, here, what do you think about this page? Like, yeah, what do you think about that? Right? And once you're able to do that, because they speak a certain language, right? They speak a certain language. So you need to be able to speak in that language, in their mother tongue, so to speak. You need to be able to speak to them in the language that, right? The guy on the YouTube with the goatee, that's not going to work. And definitely don't show this video, because you show this video, they're just going to see me. And then, yeah, it's over. Don't show this video. This video is just for you. Right? Okay. The amygdala is an almond-shaped nucleus located deep and medially within the temporal lobe and is thought to play a crucial role in the regulation of emotional processes. GABAergic neurotransmission inhibits the amygdala and prevents us from generating inappropriate emotional and behavioral responses. Magnesium, aka chlorophyll, for the win. We're going to go back to the beginning. The amygdala is an almond-shaped nucleus located deep and medially within the temporal lobe and is thought to play a crucial role in the regulation of emotional processes. GABAergic neurotransmission inhibits the amygdala and prevents us from generating inappropriate emotional and behavioral responses. Okay? Why is that important to know? Because we need to know the off switch. Right? We need to know the off switch. A long time ago, right? When I lived in Philadelphia, right? I had a story. It's not a long story. Okay. But when I lived in Philadelphia, we had it was me and Tony, me and my daughter Tony. We was on the road. She was Chase age at the time. She's grown now, right? But I had Tony teaching with me. So I would speak to the adults and then Tony would speak to the young adults and the children. And we had a lecture lined up. Man, I'm trying to think of the college. It was at a college campus in Ohio. I can't think of the name of the college. We had a lecture lined up at a college campus in Ohio, and it was supposed to be, I think, the whole urban kryptonite thing, but it wound up just being me and Tony, I think. I'm not sure exactly how it worked itself out, right? But I think it was like $25 or something like that at the door to get in, or it might have been a little bit more. It might have been like $30 at the door to get in. And an older guy called up, right? I'm almost 50 now, right? So he's older, but he wasn't much older than I am now, right? He was about his mid-50s, right? He was in his mid-50s. At the time, I was in my mid-30s, so he definitely qualified as older guy, right? So don't be judging me, okay? So he calls me up and he's asking me like a lot of heart questions. He's asking me a lot of heart questions. And he said he has congestive heart failure. And he wanted to talk to me about his congestive heart failure. What could I do? Blah blah blah. And I said, well, come up to the lecture, because he was there. He was at he was in Ohio, somewhere close to where the school was. And he was like, I'm on. So I talked to this guy for like an hour. Let me say that much first before I go any further. I talked to him for like an hour on the phone for free, right? And at the end of the conversation, I'm telling them, look, you know what I'm saying? What you need to do is come up to the lecture, right? And we can go in more detail. Woo, 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 woo. So he's like, yo, I'm on a fixed income and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, bro, I got 1,000 children. Trust me. Nobody knows about fixed income better than me. Just come up to the lecture. Don't worry. I'll get you in. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to buy a ticket. You know, just come to the door. I'll get you in. So he's like, man, you know, it's not even that much. I need to get the product or whatever you got, you know. And at the time, I was like, I didn't have a strictly magnesium. Like now I have a magnesium. You could go to the website and get a magnesium. But at the time I didn't have a type of magnesium. So, or a selenium, you know what I'm saying? So I had, I think it was just the Mom Atomics. But I told him what to get and told him if he came up to the lecture, you know, I would give him a few things as well. You know what I'm saying? And he didn't even have to come in. He could just come grab the herbs or whatever and go. And he did that. He came to the door. He met me. I gave him a little care package of herbs. I think I might have gave him a book. You know, he dapped me up, said, thanks, brother, whatever, and left. Now, mind you, they were saying that his congestive heart failure was at like, you know, he was pretty much at the end of whatever they could do for him. And, you know, his heart was. So that was that. You know, I didn't know what happened with the brother. You know what I'm saying? The brother called me up like maybe a year later. Like maybe a year later. And I'm telling you, I needed some money. And he called me up and he said, I don't know if you remember me, but man, I'm doing amazing. Sent me a few dollars, right? Point being, I know a lot more now than I did then, but then I knew selenium, magnesium played crucial roles in heart health and could help, you know, help somebody in dire straits. It depends on what's going on with you. You know what I'm saying? And but I'm just saying now, knowing a lot more, now I know the reason. Like sometimes I do that, you know what I'm saying? Like you know, as I'm learning more, studying more, I'll go back and go, oh, I didn't even know this. Right? So I didn't know back then that the trigger was the amygdala. I didn't know that GABA or GABA neurons could put the brakes on the amygdala. I didn't know that because of the relationship with magnesium and calcium, that magnesium could help put the brakes on the amygdala. I just knew all of the different things that the magnesium, your heart. I just knew all of the things that selenium does directly for your heart. I didn't understand or know at the time that there were, you know, like there was other factors. Yeah, I didn't know that there was other factors. You know what I'm saying? So that just so happened to be a vibe like that, you know. But that's how it goes. So that's one of the things you have to always keep in mind, right? We don't really know how everything works in the body. So this is why synthetic stuff, I'm not going to say always, but this is why synthetic stuff is, well, no, Synthetic stuff is always riskier than natural stuff, right? Always riskier. Now, rolling the dice, you might hit, right? You play craps, you play CeeLo, you might hit a 4, 5, 6, you might hit a 7 or 11, you might hit. So gambling, you don't always lose. Sometimes you win. But natural is always much less of a gamble, right? It's like if you're playing not Russian roulette, the table roulette. You know, if you just bet on black or white, you have a 50% chance of winning. The moment you start to pick a specific number, those odds drop dramatically, right? You might have a 1 in 50 chance of winning, or 1 in 100, or whatever it is, right? Now, the payout is equal to the risk, right? But that is not the case when you gambling with your life. You see what I'm saying? So what we got going on right now, is we're in another space, right? We're in another space, right? Okay, hold on. All right, so we kind of started out and we talked about the flood story. Keep that on the board as long as I can so it stays in your mind, right? But we started out talking about the flood stories, right? And how man got too crazy, and so God wanted to wipe folks out, and blah, blah, blah. And so there's now a self-destruct button. Man is now loaded with a self-destruct button so that God never has to wipe out the whole planet again. There's now a self-destruct button so that we can just boop, so that if you're the problem, eventually you will get you, right? You will get you. All of your emotions, your actions, the things you're eating, the things you're doing, all of those things, you literally and figuratively wear them, right? You literally and figuratively wear them. Why? Because the amygdala and the heart develop scar tissue, lesions, right? Like imagine back in the slavery days when you see them whooping the slaves and you see the lashes across their back. In a microscopic way, your heart and your amygdala have that same thing happening to it. So nobody has to see you. Nobody has to see you. You when you drive past Checkers, right? Listen, when you drive past Checkers, you all alone in the car, right? You drive past Checkers and you look over and you see they got the big sign flashing. Quadruple cheeseburger, deluxe, where everything is on it, right? 2 of them for $3. They got a double Buford, a triple Buford, right? A triple Buford, 6 burgers on there. 6. I'm talking about maximum burger, a 2-pound burger. They, whatever you could think of as the maximum, they got that. 2 of them for $3 too. Not only do they have the maximum size, everything, 2 for $3, right? So you drive past that sign, and you know how the devil play. This is how the devil play. That sign gonna be right there, and out of nowhere, the red light gonna hit. So now you gotta sit there and look at that sign. And that sign looking at you. And pretty soon, you just going ahead and hit the blinker, and you done turned into the drive-thru. You done turned into the drive-thru. You like, listen, ain't nobody gonna. EnQi said if you fall off, just pick it back up the next day. Just go ahead and do your thing. That's not exactly what I said. Okay. So you in the drive-thru thinking nobody gonna see you. All right, cool. You got your triple, quadruple, heart attack burger. Right? Boom. And now you done enjoyed it. It's delicious. It's delicious. Right? You ain't had one in who knows how long. It reminds you how you felt when you was 13 years old. It's delicious. It's amazing. You done had your favorite soda, right? Or what do they call those things? It's a fake milkshake. You done had a shake, an ice blast, or whatever you done had with it. Lesions, little microscopic lesions develop on your heart as you wilding out. As you wilding out, microscopic lesions that look like they look exactly like somebody whooping you on your back. I want you to understand this, right? Now, as you going through your go-throughs, right? And I'm the worst, right? Relationship-wise, stuff like that. All your heartache, all your fear and your anger, that's over here. You get the same type of lesions. What's your name? Kunta. So the emotional stress, the anger, you constantly in fear, your amygdala is getting those same type of lesions, right? So this is how the damage builds up. This is how the damage builds up to the point where you getting closer to that one last event that's going to snatch you up out of here. Right? This is how you get closer and closer to that one last event that's going to snatch you up out of here. All right. But I just want you to I want you to have that vision in your mind. Right? I wonder if we could find it. I think it would be good if we could. Right? I want to see if we can find it. Oh, yeah, here we go. Oh, this don't got what I'm looking for. No. Hold on, that ain't what I'm looking for. Yeah, we're going to have to just settle for this. I want you to have that vision in your mind. I want you to have that vision in your mind. want you to have that vision in your mind, right? I want you to know that you have the whip. I want you to know that you have the whip. I want you to know that your heart may look like that. Most people's do. Most people's hearts look like that. You can't tell. This is the thing. You can't tell. You have no idea that your heart looks like this. Nobody's even trained to think about it. When you go to the doctor, they just, oh, okay, it's beating. Yep, it's beating. You alive. You could probably cut down on the salt a little bit, but you know, yeah. They're gonna check the cholesterol numbers. Oh yeah, they're gonna give you thumbs up. They're gonna keep thumbing you up until you. Yeah, they're gonna thumb you up to death. Listen, they're gonna thumb you up to death. This is how people are walking around right now. Their heart looks like this. It's not just your heart either, right? Your amygdala. I might as well, since we're discussing it, your liver looks like that. The only thing with your liver is your liver has the ability to fix itself. Your liver has the ability to fix itself in real time, right? Your heart has the ability to fix itself as well. Only thing is, it takes anywhere from 15 to 30 years for your heart. Sometimes longer. It may take 40, 50 years for your heart, right? The cells in the heart are very, very complex. So we can damage them very fast, but the healing process takes a long time. The healing process takes a long time. So I want you to have that vision in your mind. When you're out and you're getting ready to do whatever you're getting ready to do, I just want you to know, and nobody has to be there with you. Nobody has to see it. You know what you're doing. And your heart know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. Your heart know what you're doing. Right? So we got the self-destruct button in there. We got the self-destruct button in there. Right? The self-destruct button is when the amygdala triggers the bone marrow to release all these coagulants, and you have a certain amount of scarification. The scars wrap up your heart like a mummy. Put that in there. Your heart gets wrapped up like a mummy in scar tissue. You need to look it up. It's called fibrosis. If you need to look it up, it's called fibrosis. Right? Your heart gets wrapped up in scar tissue like a mummy. It's called fibrosis. Right, EnQi, okay, enough already. We get it. I'm not sure you do get it. So we gotta make sure you get it. Okay. All right, so now I need you to pull that paper. Remember earlier I said I need you to have a paper and pen out? to try to put these on the screen to help out, right? So right now, let's go to Numbers 17. I want you to go to the Bible. Numbers 17. If you're at home, right, or you're trying to rock out with a Bible on your phone, use Bible Gateway, right? Bible Gateway is smooth because Bible Gateway has pretty much all of the different Bibles that people like to use, right? Or at least most of them, right? For me, I go to the King James Version, right? I go to the King James Version. All right, so we're going to start. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, take of every one of them a rod according to the house of their fathers, of all their princes according to the house of their fathers, 12 rods. Write thou every man's name upon his rod. And thou shalt write Aaron's name upon the rod of Levi, for one rod shall be for the head of the house of their fathers. And thou shalt lay them up in the tabernacle of the congregation before the testimony, where I will meet with you. I might be going too fast. And it shall come to pass that the man's rod whom I shall choose shall blossom, and I will make to cease from me the murmurings of the children of Israel, whereby they murmur against you. And Moses spake unto the children of Israel, and every one of their princes gave him a rod apiece, for each prince one, according to their fathers' houses, even 12 rods, and the rod of Aaron was among their rods. And Moses laid up the rods before the Lord in the tabernacle of witness. And it came to pass that on the morrow, Moses went into the tabernacle of witness, and behold, the rod of Aaron for the house of Levi was budded and brought forth buds and blossoms and yielded almonds. And Moses brought out all the rods from before the Lord unto all the children of Israel. And they looked, and they took every man his rod. And the Lord said unto Moses, Bring Aaron's rod again before the testimony, to be kept for a token against the rebels. And thou shalt quite take away their murmurings from me, that they die not. And Moses did so, and as the Lord commanded, so he did. And the children of Israel spake unto Moses, saying, Behold, we die, we perish, we all perish. Whosoever cometh anything near unto the tabernacle of the Lord shall die, shall we be consumed with dying. Right? Now, the rod is associated, even derived from the Egyptian rod called the wa scepter, which we have identified as the aorta. Right? So this is why this is important. Right? This is why it's sometimes important, remember, to bring back the science parts, the religious parts, the spiritual parts, and put that all back together again. Because when we put that all back together again, sometimes the parables, right, aren't exactly parables. Sometimes the parables are plain English, plain whatever your language is. Like, it's just plain for you, right? It's plain, right? Now, the aorta is a part of the active spine. The aorta is an active part of the spine, right? Now, we'll probably do it in some other conversations, right? On the Jed pillar, right? But when you go back into a lot of the depictions, the glyphs, the pictures about the Jed pillar, you will also often see arms, right? And you will see heads coming out of the Jed pillars, right? You'll see arms and heads coming out of the Jed pillars, right? So all of this kind of stuff is floating around in my mind as I'm reading these passages, right? So that's where you start to put to, if P, then Q, right? And in this case, if P, then Q, R, S, T, right? Because what we're finding is Christ as the heart, but not only Christ as the heart, but Christ as the Savior. Christ as the heart and Christ as the Savior, right? Because your heart is your Savior, right? Your heart is the Savior. That's what you got to get. Your heart is your Savior in real time. Your heart is your Savior in real time. Okay. I need that to sink in. So we need to have a moment so that I can sink in. And what better way to do that? What better way to do that than by doing that?
We give thanks and EnQi prayer number 2. We give thanks and praise to the Most High God for the divine spark that set our cells into perpetual motion. We give thanks for the magnetism of the Most Holy, the magnetism that repels and attracts the ferry boats of light 60,000 miles every 60 seconds throughout our vessels and caves. We give thanks for the ability to drink clean water every 60 minutes, flooding the river of life. We give thanks that sugar has not covered our ferries and turned them into stone. We give thanks that darkness has not covered the riverbanks with calcium and turned them into stone. We give thanks that anger and fear have not turned our almonds bitter, turning our heart to stone. We give thanks for smooth sailing upstream through the valley of death, through the superior vena cava into the right atrium. We give thanks for smooth sailing around the heart through the corona crown, joining the vortex in the right atrium. We give thanks for for the perfect black solar repeater that induces the primary electromagnetic wave, opening the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim closes. We give thanks to the ray wave, reflecting on the semi-lunar valves, opening a pathway to the vineyard. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the lunar gate to the vineyard closes. We give thanks to the Most High God that provides the light and our breath, and the light in our breath. We give thanks for the fine olfactory system that makes our grapes ripe with light. We give thanks for the Jed pillar that provides us with a stable fleet of ferry boats to dock in our vineyard. We give thanks for smooth sailing through the pulmonary vein into the storm of the left atrium. We give thanks for the perfect black solar repeater that induces the primary electromagnetic wave, opening the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim closes. We give thanks to the ray wave, reflecting on the semi-lunar valves, opening a pathway into the holy royal arch of the Wa scepter. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the lunar gate into the holy royal arch of the Wa scepter closes. We give thanks for the magnetism of the most holy, the magnetism that repels and attracts the ferry boats of light 60,000 miles every 60 seconds throughout our vessels and our caves. Amen. EnQi prayer number 2. We give thanks and praise to the Most High God for the divine spark that set our cells into perpetual motion. We give thanks for the magnetism of the Most Holy, the magnetism that repels and attracts the ferry boats of light 60,000 miles every 60 seconds throughout our vessels and caves. We give thanks for the ability to drink clean water every 60 minutes, flooding the river of life. We give thanks that sugar has not covered our ferries and turned them into stone. We give thanks that darkness has not covered the riverbanks with calcium and turned them into stone. We give thanks that anger and fear have not turned our almonds bitter, turning our heart to stone. We give thanks for smooth sailing upstream through the valley of death, through the superior vena cava into the right atrium. We give thanks for smooth sailing around the heart through the corona crown, joining the vortex in the right atrium. We give thanks for the perfect black solar repeater that induces the primary electromagnetic wave, opening the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim closes. We give thanks to the ray wave, reflecting on the semi-lunar valves, opening a pathway to the vineyard. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the lunar gate to the vineyard closes. We give thanks to the Most High God that provides the light and our breath, and the light in our breath. We give thanks for the fine olfactory system that makes our grapes ripe with light. We give thanks for the Jed Pillar that provides us with a stable fleet of ferry boats to dock in our vineyard. We give thanks for smooth sailing through the pulmonary vein into the storm of the left atrium. We give thanks for the perfect black solar repeater that induces the primary electromagnetic wave, opening the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim closes. We give thanks to the ray wave, reflecting on the semi-lunar valves, opening a pathway into the holy royal arch of the Wa scepter. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the lunar gate into the holy royal arch of the Wa scepter closes. We give thanks for the magnetism of the most holy, the magnetism that repels and attracts the ferry boats of light 60,000 miles every 60 seconds throughout our vessels and our caves. Amen.
Right. So hopefully the visual, right? So we got the visual. We put two of them up this morning, right? One that's just the visuals. So you have a better visualization when you see it, right? The valley of the shadow of death is the blood on its way up from the feet to the heart with no oxygen, right? And, you know, just give you the whole little, so you can, but then the second video we put up has the exercises that you're supposed to be doing. I don't want you to just memorize the words. I want you to get into the process of doing your toe raises, your heel raises, your squats, your push-ups, and your jumping jacks every single time. That's 2.5 minutes of work. 2.5 minutes of work to prove what you're saying, right? 2.5 minutes of work to prove what you're saying. And if you do that 2.5 minutes, 5 times a day, you will see some amazing, amazing, amazing changes, right? 2.5 minutes, right? 2.5 minutes. 2.5 minutes. If you do 2.5 minutes 5 times a day, it's only 13 minutes, 12.5 minutes. 12.5, wait, is that right? 10, yeah. 12.5 minutes. It's crazy. We're back to another 12, right? I did not plan that to be another 12. I promise you, I did not sit down and think to myself, how can we get another 12 involved with this whole program? 12 minutes. Right? Set your phone. Set your phone, right? If you have an iPhone, what you could do is set it as a date. And when you set it as a date, it has a little setting and it says repeat or something like that. And you just click on that and put repeat every day. And so every day, my phone gives me a reminder at these times. Get your butt up and act like you mean it. Because it's very easy for us to type into a chat, thank God, yeah, give praise, give thanks. It's easy for us to go to church or to the mosque or wherever, sit down, let the reverend, the imam, the rabbi, let him do all the work, the walking up and down, pump out all that energy for an hour or so, and then you walk up out of there feeling like you did something. You got to show and prove, right? You got to show and prove. If you can't do 5, take out this one, take out this one, do 3. If you can't do 3, do 2. Do 1 in the morning, 1 at night, right? I don't know what your life look like. I don't know what your health condition is, right? But you can do 2. You could get you together in the morning, and some of this stuff you could do sitting down. So if you're not mobile and you can't really move around, and you in a wheelchair or you need help, you can do a good bit of this in the wheelchair, right? You can do a good bit of this in the wheelchair. But the thing that we need, remember we discussed it yesterday, is we need the blood flowing, and we need rapid depolarization and repolarization of all your cells, but more specifically, the electromagnetic cells, right? All of your cells that are excitable, that produce voltage. We need them to get active. If we were at the equator, the sun alone is enough to start rapid depolarization and repolarization, giving your body some juice. That's not happening in Chicago. That's not happening in Detroit. That's not happening in Philly, Baltimore, New York, UK. Forget about it, right? It's not happening in these places, right? My peeps up in Ireland, you can forget it, right? So if you're not at the equator, you need to get busy with the get busy. Now, I know somebody's going to say, yeah, but Doc, I am at the equator. Cool. You can just go outside half naked and get you some sunlight in at that time and pray at that time, and you should be lit, right? If it's 90 degrees, X amount, 90 degrees, 100 degrees, 85 degrees. If it's between 85 and 100 degrees, all you need to do is go outside. And when I say half naked, I really mean that, right? Cover your privates, obviously, but you want as much of your legs. You definitely want your feet exposed, right? As much of your back as possible exposed, right? No. The South don't count. Ain't no South. Unless you at the bottom of Texas. Listen to what I'm saying. If you're not in the bottom of Texas, if you can't walk to Mexico, like if you can't drive 20, 30 minutes to Mexico, if you're not South Florida, and when I say South Florida, I mean if you can't see Cuba, if you can't take a quick speedboat to Cuba, forget about it. All that Jackson, Florida, Savannah, Georgia, South Carolina, Louisiana, forget about it. Get to work. Get to work. You with us. Yeah. all extents and purposes, you with us, right? Now, when it gets to the summertime, it might be a little different, right? Summertime might be a little different. But I'm be honest, once you start to doing this, your body's going to crave it. Once you start doing it, your body's going to crave it. If you do this 2 days in a row, 3 days in a row, your body's going to start to craving it. You're going to start to feel like shameful if you don't do it, right? So, okay. Let's go back to the work. How did we do this last time? Did we just pull up the Strong's Bible Concordance? I think that's what we did. I think we pulled up the Strong's Bible Concordance. No, this is not how it looked last time. So this must not be what we used. Maybe this is what we used. Yep, this is what we used. Okay, so let's go over here. Remember, if you don't have the book, this is the Electrician Prayer Manual. I definitely want you to be taking notes, writing this stuff down. Write this stuff down. Okay, even if you have the book, I want you to write this stuff down. Right? If you have the book, I still want you to write this stuff down separately, or maybe you could write it down in the book. I should have put some blank pages in this book. The prayer manual, I should have put blank pages in there. You know what I'm saying? Because I destroy my books because I write in all of the pages, in all of the margins of every book I've ever read. I'm scribbling and writing all in the book, right? My books that I personally write, I could write less stuff in because, yeah, I wrote the book. But when I'm reading the book that I didn't author, oh, it's over. I'm scribbling all in the front of the book, in the back of the book, all in the margins, everywhere. So every so often, I try to give you a book that has like notebook space, like just blank pages so that you could go bananas in the book, right? So you can take notes in the book, because what happens is, and we're going to get more and more into this part of the conversation, building up the mind, right? So there's one thing that we're doing, building the heart physically, the heart muscle, right? We're building the heart muscle, building the conductivity of the heart physically building the heart. The other part is building the mind, right? So we're going to be working on building the mind. And so one of the things with building the mind is specifically with memory, right? The more ways you can stimulate yourself with the information, the more ways it sticks, because you're communicating to yourself. Don't prune these. I need this. Let this neural network grow. I need this, right? So reading something, that's good, because you see it. And if you say it out loud, if you read out loud, You hear it and you say it. You're seeing it, you're saying it, and you're hearing yourself say it. That's 3 types of exposures, right? Writing it down along with hearing it, saying it, and seeing it, it helps to get it committed into memory, right? And that's what this is, right? I need this stuff to be a part of your working conversation, your working diatribe, right? You need to be able to break this stuff down to whoever. Let me go, give me some hot water real quick.
The gods have blessed us. We must act now. We must act now to save us, to save our souls.
Okay. All right. So I definitely need you to write this down. And sometimes you got to write stuff down more than once. And I'm only telling you tricks that I use myself. All right, so we want to go to 82, 46, and 47. Right? All right, we can actually go to 40, 45, 46, and 47. Right? So these are all spelled the exact same way. Right? All spelled the exact same way. And with no vowels, it'll look like this. So we had fun with this last time, right? Shocked. Shocked. Right? We had fun with this last time. Right? But once you add the vowels in, right, you kind of can guide the pronunciation, but you still can't change the definitions. Right? So it's one thing to be able to look at this and go, okay, well, we get the association because we understand that almond is amygdala, right? We get that part. Almond, amygdala. Now we take it a step further with the definitions. Watchful, alert, etc. Right? Watchful, alert, etc. Right? The things that we know that science says about the amygdala, religion, the Bible is saying about the almond. Right? Science says this about the amygdala. The Bible says this about the almond. Right? So what we're doing is putting the science and the religion We're putting the science and the spirituality back together again. Right? $82.46. Same thing. Right? Slightly different pronunciation. Same thing. Right? 82.47. Slightly different pronunciation. And now it just means almond. Now it just means almond. Where can you see the pronunciation change? Right here. This is where they make it super plain. But this is right here where you see the spelling of the word change. Right? This right here is where you see the spelling of the word change. Right? When you get here, you notice the vowels are totally different. All right? So what we're doing is simple. We're just putting the science back into the spirituality. Right? We can even take it a little further. All right? We can take it a little further and go to 82.44, which is also spelled the same way. Right? Also spelled the same way. Only difference is instead of this first letter being a shin, it's a s, a sin. Right? So the hissing sound is the letter sin. Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. Now, this word, let me pull it back up. It's in the Bible exactly 10 times. This word is in the Bible 10 times. All right. Why is that important? That's important because that completes the reference and takes you back around to the law. That takes you back around to the law. Right? That takes you to the 10 Commandments. That takes you to the law. Now, if you was watching the other day, you know that the first word of the 10 Commandments are these guys, right? So we're not even going to entertain that here. I just wanted to, I couldn't resist. I couldn't help myself because we're here, right? But 10 times is a reference to the 10 Commandments, right? All right, so let's take a quick trip. Let's take a quick trip over here. The sooner y'all commit this stuff to memory, I don't have to repeat it. But I need this to be in y'all functional memory. This is that important. I need this to be in y'all functional memory. Now this one, you might as well go ahead. If you need to go to the bathroom, you need to go get you some snack. You need to go warm up you some sea moss, right? You need you some hot sea moss. You need you a cold smoothie. This is that time. Let me see how my waves is looking. Oh no, they definitely not looking camera ready. Yo, my waves is definitely not looking camera ready. I thought I was doing something real quick about to bust out on y'all. No, sir. Okay. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe. This is the key word. I want this to stick out like a sore thumb every time you see it. Every time this word pops up, I want you to think. I don't want you to think. I don't want you to think abuse. I don't want you to think responsibility. I don't want you to think bogged down or tied to mental, whatever, all the stuff that's floating around, right? I don't want those concepts to be attached to this word. When you see the word observe, I want you to think quantum mechanics. Every time you see the word observe from now until infinity, I want you to think quantum mechanics, right? I want you to think quantum entanglement. I want you to think spooky action at a distance, right? I want you to think quantum superposition, even, right? I want you to think double slit experiment, right? I want you to begin to advance your reference points. This is what repetition is about, right? Changing reference points, right? When you hear almond, I want you to think amygdala, right? I want you to change your reference points. That's why it's important for us to look at the heart and realize we've been tricked all our life. We've been tricked all our life. Let me show you this. We've been tricked all our life into looking at this, and we didn't even really understand what it was that we was looking at. We had no idea that this was a trick, right? Because some of y'all, we only 2 months away. We only 2 months away, right? But we've been tricked into looking at this. We draw these in school. Our kids draw these. When we become adults, you know, we get little chocolate-shaped hearts, right? We give them away, right? This has nothing to do with your actual heart. Instead, what this does is this image is a very highly crafted image to send sexual stimulation into your subconscious. That's what this is designed for, especially for men. For men, this is going to attack you wherever you like it. Right? Wherever you like it. So if you're a breast man or you're a butt man, it's going to get you there. Now, if you was to take it and hold it upside down by the point like this, it looks like testicles. So that is a carefully crafted picture so that it stimulates your subconscious without you knowing. This is why you go back to the Greek time, the Greco-Roman era. Valentine's Day was a orgy. It was an orgy. So this is a carefully crafted symbol to take you back to that orgy that was for the great wolf, Lupercalia, right? But they didn't know what they was doing. So a lot of people, when Valentine's comes up, you see them on the internet and they're like, oh yeah, Lupercalia, you know, it's the Roman orgy and they was raping people and blah, 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 blah. That's all facts. But that didn't originate there. That's not the origin of Lupercalia, right? That's definitely the origin of this Valentine's heart and all of the sexual stuff. But the day that was dedicated to the great wolf was a celebration that existed in Kemet for Anubis and for the resurrection of life. That's what that was about. So Anubis and the resurrection of life turned into orgy, which later on turns into this sexual symbol that we are inundated with from the time that we can see. It's a nice little innocent symbol, you know, so children's cartoons and whatever, is, you know, kids in school cut out hearts for Valentine's Day, you know, paste them up all over the class. Nobody has any idea exactly what it is that they're really doing. What type of subconscious, right? We just don't know. Is that somebody delivering me a book? No. I am so hating on all of you people, especially Kyle. Look at Kyle. Kyle is just as bad as Osborne. Kyle is just as bad as Osborne. I just want y'all to know that I be hating. Osborne know I be hating. Osborne know I be hating. Because Osborne sends me little pictures. Every time he get a book, he sends me a picture. I be hating hard, right? And now that we're in this Christmas season and all the Amazon shipping stuff is, you know, they're making the authors wait twice as long now. So now it's 3-4 weeks for a book. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, and I got to get the discount. You know what I'm saying? So now I got to wait 3-4 weeks, where normally I might wait 2 weeks, 10 days. You know what I'm saying? 10 business days. Now it's January. You know what I'm saying? So it's ugly right now. I'm definitely hating, but I'm still hopeful. I'm still hopeful when I hear the UPS truck, like when you was a kid and you heard the ice cream truck coming. I'm still peeking. Right? All right. Anyway, when you see this word, I want you to have a new reference point for this. right? I want you to look at this book as a science book. I want you to look at this book as a history book. Even if the events are not historical, the events in this book have coded history in it that they point to, right? Coded history that they point to, right? Which was the whole reason that we have two books, right? Before I go and start reading this chapter, we have two books that's very important for you to pay attention to. And the science is right on the covers of the book, right? One book, I Am Him, right? The other book, Mountain Jew. I Am Him, Mountain Jew, right? Both of these have a very specific reference, right? Because this is Mitzrayim, right? Mitzrayim translates to the mounds, right? Or the man-made mountains, right? So the children from the land of the man-made mountains are the Jews, right? Him is a Kemetic word for king, right? So this is where you get Ham from. You get Ham from him. And it just so happens that Mitzrayim is Ham seed, right? So there is historical references in non-historical format, right? So anyway, to observe, and it shall come to pass if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and do all his commandments, which I commanded thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. And all the blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of thy Lord thy God. Blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field. Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy ground, and the fruit of thy cattle, and of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep. Blessed shall be thy basket and thy store. Blessed shalt thou be when thou comest in. Blessed shalt thou be when thou goest out. The Lord shall cause thine enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. They shall come out against thee one way and flee before thee 7 ways. The Lord shall command the blessing upon thee in the storehouses, and in all that thou settest thine hand unto. And he shall bless thee in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. The Lord shall establish thee an holy people unto himself, as he hath sworn unto thee, if thou shalt keep the commandments of the Lord thy God and walk in his ways. Right? Now we know the land that he has given you, you're wearing. You don't need to go anywhere to find it. You're wearing the land that he gave you. You are the dust of the ground. You are the land. The Lord shall establish and keep thee a holy people unto himself, as he hath sworn unto thee, if thou shalt keep the commandments right? So this is why the commandments is basically how to socialize and how to eat. How you socialize and how you eat keeps the body healthy, keeps the body pure, keeps your testicles working, keeps your womb fertile, right? Keeps you healthy. And all of the people of the earth shall see that thou art called by the name of the Lord, and they shall be afraid of thee. And the Lord shall make thee plenteous in goods, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy ground, in the land which the Lord sware unto thy fathers to give thee. The Lord shall open unto thee his good treasure, the heaven, to give the rain unto thy land in his season, and to bless all the work of thine hand. And thou shalt lend unto many nations, and thou shalt not borrow. And the Lord shall make thee the head and not the tail. And thou shalt be above only, and thou shalt not be beneath, if that thou hearken unto the commandments of the Lord thy God, which I command thee this day, to observe and to do them. Now, there is a group of people that take this line here to heart. I want you to see it, because they done built some big fortunes on this one line. This one line, thou shalt lend unto many nations, and thou shalt not borrow. They grabbed that one line. That's not even a whole line. In the street, we would say that's not even a whole bar. That's a half a bar. They took that half a bar. And because they took that half a bar so serious, they went from a dirt poor people. Half a bar. Lend to everybody, borrow from nobody. And thou shalt not go aside from any of the words which I commanded thee this day, to the right hand, to the left hand, to go after gods, to go after other gods, to serve them. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments, which really, if we don't add quantum mechanics, this series of words doesn't make sense, because there's no reason observe is even here. If we don't add the actual meaning of observe, if we don't add the observer effect in this sentence is gobbledygook. If you pass this in school, your teacher will correct you and say, you don't need this here. They cross this right on out, right? Did you just simply say, hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command? Like, there's no reason for observe to be there unless, right? To observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Curses shall thou be in the city. Rather, cursed shall thou be in the city. Cursed shall thou be in the field. Cursed shall be the basket in thy store. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy land. The increase of thy kind, the flocks, the sheep. When you go in, when you come out, like, the Lord shall send upon thee curses, vexation, rebuke, and all that thou settest thine hand unto for to do, until thou be destroyed, until thou perish quickly, because of the wickedness of thy doing, whereby thou hast forsaken me. Now, I'm telling you, this will sound crazy right up until the part that we look at these statistics. Number one in STDs, heart disease, cancer, diabetes, autoimmune, blah, 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 lupus, fibroids, you name it. You name it. We top of the charts with dominant genetics, mind you, which is the part where it gets spooky. That's the part where it gets spooky for me, that I had to scratch the lie to find the thief. I had to figure that out. That's a conundrum. How does Black people have the quote unquote dominant genetics and we at the top of the charts for every disease? That's crazy. Those two things do not scientifically align together. That does not make sense. If we have the dominant genetics and we're all eating the same food, we're all living the same lifestyle, this thing supposed to be a little evened out. This thing supposed to, this thing supposed to be even. This thing supposed to be kind of balanced. We're not supposed to lead in every form of death. Yeah, we're not. That's a statistical anomaly. Whenever that happens in science, you need to you have to pinpoint that and figure that out. And feel free to have at it. How we get there? You go ignorance. Okay, check. I agree. Ignorance. But then the next question is, ignorance of what? Ignorance of how the body works. Check. Where do we figure that out at? Go back to the origin, back to the roots. The root says the same thing. Even if we throw the Bible out and we go back to all the original source material which the Bible was composed of, all the original source material on anatomy, physiology. Well, in those papers, it tells us that we was created from the dust of the ground by Khnum, and Shu blew the breath of life in us. And now what does science say? Science now says superposition, quantum superposition. What is quantum superposition? That the same light can be in multiple places at once. So it is a scientific fact now that the light, the initial light, can be somewhere else and in me at the same time. So the light that animates me, the source of that, the external source of that, can exist separately from me while still being quantumly entangled. Religion says that, spirituality says that, and now cutting edge science says that. That gets scary. That gets spooky. That's where it gets spooky. That's where you go, so if I'm going to roll these dice, I'm going to roll these dice on this side. I'm going to go with, I think I'm going to roll with this. Once spirituality says this, religion says this, and our best scientists also agree with that, I'm in. Yeah, we could be wrong still, but I'm going to roll with this. I'm going to roll with this. My ancestors and my colonizer says the same. My ancestors and my oppressor agrees. Yeah, I'm going to roll with this. I'm going to roll with this. I'm going to roll with this. I'm going to roll with it. And thy heaven that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be iron. The Lord shall make the rain of thy land powder and dust. From heaven shall it come down upon thee until thou be destroyed. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. and thy carcass shall be meat unto all the fowls of the air, and unto the beasts of the earth, and no man shall fray them away. The Lord will smite thee with the botch of Egypt, and with the emerods, and with the scab, and with the itch, whereof thou canst not be healed. The Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart. And we stop right there. Bruh. If only this were not happening, this would be debatable. If only this were not happening. If only this was not happening. But the fact that it is, and this is in a book that's 2,000 years old, and this is happening statistically. We see the numbers. People are losing their eyesight in their 20s. People are losing limbs in their 30s. People are dropping dead in their 40s. Statistically, this is unparalleled. Just saying. Stuff is crazy. And every time I go over it, it looks crazier every time I look at it. And thou shalt grope at noon as the blind gropeth in the dark. And thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled even more. And no man shall save thee. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build a house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shalt not gather grapes thereof. Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes. Thou shalt not eat thereof. Thine ass shall be violently taken away from thee before thy face. That's kind of like getting carjacked. I don't know where that, that one might be. I don't know about that one. And shall not be restored to thee. Thy sheep shall be given unto thine enemies, and thou shalt have none to rescue them. Right? Okay, I think we get it. Right? The Lord shall smite thee in thy knees and in thy legs with a sore botch that cannot be healed, from the sole of thy feet unto the top of thy head. You know, it might just be me that this chapter is so powerful because I speak to everybody. See, you might think that it's just you, and it's just your shoulder, and it's just your knees, and it's just your ankles. But because this is what I do, I know that it's not. I know that ankle and knee replacement surgery is of the top 10 most popular surgeries. Body part replacement, specifically ankles and knees, right? Hips are now moving up in the ranks, where hips used to be a thing for old people. Old people got new hips. Now people in their 40s and their 50s are getting new hips. This is scary. If you understand what these numbers mean, this is scary. Life expectancy is going to drop. With all this technology we got, all this knowledge floating around where everybody is a healer, everybody's a guru on social media. Life expectancy is supposed to go through the roof. We're supposed to have a boom. Life expectancy is supposed to go from 70 to 110 with all this information we got. That's not happening. It's going backwards. It's getting ready to take an official drop from the 70s down to the 60s, to the point where they had to create a new category, right? So you got life expectancy, and then you got like your active life expectancy. And active life expectancy is over in the late 40s to early 50s now, because this is just how bad we are collectively. And I don't need to remind you who's at the top of the chart, right? Okay. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee. That is happening right now. We are an astonishment, a proverb, a byword. As everyone's looking at us and wondering how this is happening right in front of their eyes. And what we're doing is blaming either white folks, or we're blaming the corporations, or we're blaming Trump, or we're blaming Kamala, right? We're blaming the government. We're blaming someone else. That's what we're stuck doing. We're blaming someone else because we're not taking accountability and we're not doing the work, right? What I'm trying to do is make it impossible for you not to do the work. I'm trying to simplify it and make it impossible for us not to do it. Like, no. Here's the blueprint. No. We're going to simplify it as much as it can be simplified. We're going to simplify it. And after we simplify it, we're going to simplify it again. Right? I'm going to give my last breath. I'm going to die on that hill. We're going to refine it and refine it some more. But nobody would be able to say they didn't know. Right? Thou shalt carry much seed out into the field and shall gather but little in, for the locust shall consume it. Thou shalt plant vineyards and dress them, but shalt neither drink of wine nor gather grapes, for the worm shall eat them. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they go into captivity. Woo! Boy, if only the private prison system was a fake thing. All thy trees and fruit of thy land shall the locust consume. The stranger that is within thee. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. The stranger that is within thee. Within thee. The stranger that is within thee. See, that's why this chapter here is very, very particular. The stranger that is within thee. This is talking about you. This is not another. That's what this is talk. This is that accountability talk. It's not the white man or the this one or the that one. It's the stranger that is within you. From the foreign concepts, the foreign gods, following foreign people, being the black culture vultures, right? Foreign rituals, foreign traditions, foreign culture, foreign gods. They even made it cool. They made it cool. Listen to the music. Everybody want foreigns. Yeah, foreign whip, foreign chick. Everybody want foreigns. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. Blah, blah, blah. But I still didn't get to what. Okay, here we go. Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart. For the abundance of all things. Yo, why does the mailman think he could play basketball in my driveway? Therefore thou shalt serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and nakedness and want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon your neck until he have destroyed thee. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of old, nor show favor to the young. And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle. He gonna ride on you. We skipping. He gonna get you, basically. Right? The foreigner's gonna get you. If thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book, that thou mayest fear this glorious, fearful name, the Lord thy God, then the Lord will make the plagues wonderful, and the plagues of thy seed, even great plagues, and of long continuance, and sore sickness, and of long. We know who was the people who primarily died in the pandemic. I'm just saying. We got to get on our grind, right? We have to become teachers. It's not enough for us to learn and become students. We have to become teachers. Also, every sickness, every plague which is not written in the book of this law, them will the Lord bring upon thee until thou be destroyed. And ye shall be left few in number, whereas ye were as the stars of heaven for multitude, because thou wouldest not obey the voice of the Lord thy God. And it shall come to pass that as the Lord rejoiced over you to do you good and multiply you, so the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot rest, but the God shall give thee a trembling heart, failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind. And this is where we are. Trembling of heart, failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind. Heart disease, diabetes, mental illness. Heart disease, diabetes, mental illness. So we got our work cut out for us.
EnQi prayer number 2. We give thanks and praise to the Most High God for the divine spark that set ourselves into perpetual motion. We give thanks for the magnetism of the Most Holy, the magnetism that repels and attracts the ferry boats of light 60,000 miles every 60 seconds throughout our vessels and caves. We give thanks for the ability to drink clean water every 60 minutes, flooding the river of life. We give thanks that sugar has not covered our ferries and turned them into stone. We give thanks that darkness has not covered the riverbanks with calcium and turned them into stone. We give thanks that anger and fear have not turned our almonds bitter, turning our heart to stone. We give thanks for smooth sailing upstream through the valley of death, through the superior vena cava into the right atrium. We give thanks for smooth sailing around the heart through the corona crown, joining the vortex in the right atrium. We give thanks for the perfect black solar repeater that induces the primary electromagnetic wave, opening the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim closes. We give thanks to the ray wave, reflecting on the semi-lunar valves, opening a pathway to the vineyard. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the lunar gate to the vineyard closes. We give thanks to to the Most High God that provides the light and our breath, and the light in our breath. We give thanks for the fine olfactory system that makes our grapes ripe with light. We give thanks for the Jed pillar that provides us with a stable fleet of ferry boats to dock in our vineyard. We give thanks for smooth sailing through the pulmonary vein into the storm of the left atrium. We give thanks for the perfect black solar repeater that induces the primary electromagnetic wave, opening the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim closes. We give thanks to the ray wave, reflecting on the semi-lunar valves, opening a pathway into the holy royal arch of the Wa scepter. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the lunar gate into the holy royal arch of the Wa scepter closes. We give thanks for the magnetism of the most holy, the magnetism that repels and attracts the ferry boats of light 60,000 miles every 60 seconds throughout our vessels and our caves. Amen. EnQi prayer number 2. We give thanks and praise to the Most High God for the divine spark that set our cells into perpetual motion. We give thanks for the magnetism of the Most Holy, the magnetism that repels and attracts the ferry boats of light 60,000 miles every 60 seconds throughout our vessels and caves. We give thanks for the ability to drink clean water every 60 minutes, flooding the river of life. We give thanks that sugar has not covered our ferries and turned them into stone. We give thanks that darkness has not covered the riverbanks with calcium and turned them into stone. We give thanks that anger and fear have not turned our almonds bitter, turning our heart to stone.
We give thanks for smooth sailing upstream through the valley of death.
We give thanks for smooth sailing upstream through the valley of death, through the superior vena cava into the right atrium. We give thanks for smooth sailing around the heart through the corona crown, joining the vortex in the right atrium. We give thanks for the perfect black solar repeater that induces the primary electromagnetic wave, opening the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim closes. We give thanks to the ray wave, reflecting on the semi-lunar valves, opening a pathway to the vineyard. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the lunar gate to the vineyard closes. We give thanks to the Most High God that provides the light and our breath, and the light in our breath. We give thanks for the fine olfactory system that makes our grapes ripe with light. We give thanks for the Jed pillar that provides us with a stable fleet of ferry boats to dock in our vineyard. We give thanks for smooth sailing through the pulmonary vein into the storm of the left atrium. We give thanks for the perfect black solar repeater that induces the primary electromagnetic wave, opening the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim closes. We give thanks to the ray wave, reflecting on the semilunar valves, opening a pathway into the holy royal arch of the Wa scepter. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the lunar gate into the holy royal arch of the Wa scepter closes. We give thanks for the magnetism of the most holy, the magnetism that repels and attracts the ferry boats of light 60,000 miles every 60 seconds throughout our vessels and our caves. Amen.
I feel like I just ran 60,000 miles in 60 seconds. Hey, yo. Okay, I think I need a break. All right. I need to go to a textbook. I even forgot why. Okay. Couple of pieces. I know what I wanted to talk about. I know exactly what I wanted to talk about. Okay, here we go. All right, y'all see what I typed in here? Y'all see what I typed in here? And I like to show y'all when I Google something, what I typed into the search bar, because that's everything. If you don't type the right thing in the search bar, you don't get the results. Right? So we have to discuss these guys. Remember, when I began saying this about 10 years ago, they said I was making it up. Right? Now we have this. All right, hold on. Y'all done made me accept the cookies, and y'all don't even have the picture there. That's disgusting. So y'all just pimped me just now. That's crazy. It just pimped me. Science Direct. Stay pimping. How big can I make this? Man, that's terrible right there. But you know what? I think I have a bigger one. Not think. I know I have a bigger one. Since they want to violate. What? Okay, here we go. Okay, so remember what this is right here, right? This right here was me showing the cardiac melanocytes, right? The melanin, the melanocytes in the heart, right? Because that is very elusive. I don't know how long that science is going to stay cutting edge. It's shameful though, because it should not be, right? This should be well known and well discussed. And unfortunately, it is not. Hold on. I know I have a big one somewhere. Hold on. So I want y'all to see that. Oop, there you go. There you go. All right. Cardiac melanocytes. Right? Cardiac melanocytes. Very important to the conversation. Right? Very important to the conversation. When you see the video, right? And we show the electric body, right? We show the electric body. What they don't show is that all of this empty space, right? This is the electric skeleton. This is the electric wiring of the heart. Now, mind you, I can't say this enough. Everybody's electric wiring is different. Some people do not have this whole bundle and all of these branches, and some people have much more than you see here. The branches is way bigger and way more filled in. Like, it's everybody's heart, everybody's electrical circuitry is way different. Way different. And you can grow it. You can grow it. You can grow the branches. You can shrink your branches. You can destroy your branches. You can destroy your electrical circuitry. Right? But this is the secret to the heart right here. This. Right? And what they don't show is all of these guys. They don't show all of these guys in all of the white space. All of the white space you see is tissue, right? But in all of that tissue, you have melanocytes. In all of that tissue, you have melanocytes, right? So when we look at this, I know you're like, yo, that's crazy. EnQi, you've been showing us these slides now for about 4 years, 5 years. Yep. And it's just clicking in your brain after me showing you this. It's just clicking what we've been looking at all this time. Right? But all of these spaces, including, but not limited to, the upper right corner of the right atrium, this is all flooded with melanocytes. Right? Well, in some people, everybody has a different amount of pigmentation in the heart. Everybody has a different amount and different type of pigmentation in the heart. Right? But look how the electrical fibers, look at your real fiber optics. You see how they fit in? You see how it fits in? Now look at all of the places, right? It says that melanocytes are localized in the valves, right? So let's go back and look at the valves. Actually, let me grab this. You're too far down there. You need to be up here. Yep, you need to be right up here. Bam. So that way we could do something like that. Yeah, that makes way more, that's way smoother, right? Even though I got 2 pictures here, right? But so it's localized in the valves, right? Look at the valves, right? Here's one right here. Here's the second one right here. These are the 2 valves that's controlled by the P waves, right? These 2 valves up here are controlled by the R wave or the ray wave, right? The R wave, just to make sure that we're being all wise, right, and exact, right? This one right here goes into the lungs for oxygen. When they leave, they don't come back through here. They come back into the left atrium. So when they come in the left atrium, this is why one side is bluish and the other side is reddish, right? The bluish side is the side where the oxygen depleted cells come in, right? Oxygen depleted. And this pulmonary valve, right, leads to the pulmonary, the lungs, right, the vineyard, the alveoles, right? So you got all these bluish colors, right? When it comes back in, it's going to come back in the left atrium, freshly oxygenated, right? And then it's going to go into the left ventricle. From the left ventricle, it's going to come up into the aorta, right? Now these 3 here, these go up into the neck and the head. This is how your neck and your head get blood, from the top of the aorta, right? So these is going to the neck and the head, the brain, all that. This is where the circulation goes from there, right? And then the body of the aorta obviously goes to the rest of the body, right? But you see here where it says septa, ventricle, and atrial, right? So this means the walls, the atrial walls and the ventricle walls, right, are loaded also with melanocytes. So it's not just the valves, it's the walls of the heart are also loaded with melanocytes. And what does it say? Having a high or low pigmented level and or melanin in valves and septa have a similar lifespan. So if you have dense pigment, you should have a long lifespan. This right here is a further conundrum. This makes it even crazier. This makes it even crazier that we have the shortest lifespans and that we have the most heart disease, right? I just be wanting to know everything about this. And it's so much to know. It's so much more for us to continue to build and discuss on. Sometimes I just be getting caught myself just staring at these pictures. I'm going to tell you, I make it a regular practice to hug my children heart to heart. I need them to feel my heartbeat, and I need to feel their heartbeat, right? And sometimes I'll listen to their heartbeat. Sometimes I let them listen to my heartbeat, right? You can get you one of these. It's cheap. You should do it with your wife, your girlfriend, right? Your mom. Promise you, you want to have a spiritual experience? Listen to somebody's heartbeat, right? Listen to somebody's heartbeat. And those is cheap. You can get those on the internet, on Amazon for $10, $20. I mean, they got expensive ones, but you don't need an expensive one. You can get you a little cheapy, right? I think that one right there was probably that one might be like $19.99 maybe. So you can get them even cheaper, $12, $8, all the way up to like, I think the most expensive ones I've seen were like $600, $700 maybe. I don't know. I haven't been looking in a long time, right? But they have them, and that for most adults, you listen to your mom's heartbeat inside the womb, and after that, that's it. But in music and in movies, they take advantage that you're programmed, you're wired for heartbeat. And they put the heartbeat into the music. They put the heartbeat into the movie in certain places to create certain emotions, right? So I'm just telling you, if you want to have a spiritual thing, you want to strengthen a bond, put your heart onto their heart. That's the origin of a hug. Origin of a hug was heart to heart. That's what the hug was for. Heart to heart. It's not just heart to heart, have a conversation. It's heart to heart. Not chest to chest. You don't got to be, it ain't got to be, Diddy. It ain't got to be baby oiled up, but heart to heart, right? Heart to heart, right? Make that connection. You can listen to heartbeat. Your children should know. If you have children, your children should know what your heartbeat sounds like. You should know what your children's heartbeats sound like, right? And as we continue to study, over time, you're going to start to know what a healthy heartbeat sound like from one that's not healthy. Because a person that smokes, they have a different sound to their heart than a person that doesn't smoke, right? A person that's athletic has a different sound to their heart than a person that's out of shape, right? So you got to practice and learn it, but it's a vibe, I'm telling you. Yeah, this is Christ, your Savior. Your Savior is buried. Christ, your Savior, is buried in your chest. Yeah, you got to resurrect him. You got to resurrect him.